Good afternoon. Welcome to RSBN Live. I'm Matthew Alvarez. Thanks so much for streaming in with us as it's the bottom of the hour, 3:30 Eastern time. Of course, we are waiting to see the president about 30 minutes from now for the Diwali celebration there at the White House. We'll have that in its entirety. A lot of other news that we're seeing, even breaking news right now out of LA when it comes to ICE and a illegal alien involvement there. We'll wait for more details to come out of that as we are monitoring that. Also, the Atlanta Police Department having a press conference right now talking about yesterday's diverted mass casualty incident at the Atlanta airport. Apparently, someone from the family member of the suspect went over to police and found out that this person was on FaceTime saying that they were going to go and do some terrible things, quote, shoot up the airport. Well, the Atlanta police got on that very quickly at the airport, stopped the guy in his tracks, arrested him, a crisis diverted. A great job there by that family member as we're tracking with that story. Along with all the other stories that are happening right now live on Right Side Broadcasting Network as we get ready to see the president about, again, 29 minutes as we're counting down the clock there. All right, let's go over a few videos that we're seeing all within the 24/7 news cycle that are happening out there. There's a lot of news to get to. Let's start out with just yesterday. Now, in Australia, I saw a video on X earlier today, and I wish I could use the video here, but of course that would take permission from somebody in Australia, and getting a hold of that person probably not the easiest thing, as I believe we're 14 hours different on the time zone. But anyway, it was an Australian patriot standing there on a stage with thousands and thousands of all their Aussies behind him. And they were saying that they are so supportive of President Trump and making America great again and the border and having, being a sovereign nation, having borders and all of the things that go with that, right? That's less people walking into our country or climbing a fence, And they were saying that they wanted their prime minister to also be like President Trump, with the fact that there are more of a mass migration situation happening, apparently, according to the Aussies there. So it's kind of like the UK and Australia. People are saying there's these migration problems, and people are kind of like us in a way. You think about it. We the people. We love freedom, right? Just like most of the free world does. And same thing in Australia. So there was this great video that's out there. Maybe I'll post it on my Truth Social a bit later, but great to see that. And great to see people speaking up all across the world, including our country, of course, when it comes to the things that we want done in this country. And of course, right now, a lot of wins going on with President Trump. We're seeing the indictments come in slowly as well. And let's just go to a video from just yesterday when it comes to Australia and the United States. Of course, Mr. Albanese, the Prime Minister of Australia, was here just yesterday. So let's go through that video. We have a lot to get to from now until the top of the hour when we see the president participate in the celebration for Diwali. But let's start out with just within the 24/7 news cycle, Australia and the United States just yesterday.
Thank you very much. It's great to have the Prime Minister of Australia. A lot of friends over there, and this is one of them right here. We work together very much on rare earths, critical minerals, and lots of other things.
Thank you so much, Mr. President, for the invitation here. We are great friends and we're great allies. Today's agreement on critical minerals and rare earths is just taking it to the next level. I think that today will be seen as a really significant day in our relationship. So thank you very much, Mr. President.
Well, thank you very much, Anthony. It's an honor to sign this, and we'll do it now.
And then, of course, following that at the White House, the LSU Tigers and the LSU Shreveport Pilots, the two baseball teams, two champions, were there for that great ceremony there at the White House. We had that covered here for you. So if you missed any of yesterday's coverage, of course, you could always replay it. Also, if you missed any of the coverage from this morning, always an opportunity to replay that coverage as well. Again, these are the kind of things that I like about what we do here at Right Side. We get to see in its entirety. You know, a lot of times in news, right, with national news or even local news, they just take a clip of the event and then they air it and then they say what they want to say around that soundbite, which usually is a false narrative. Here at Right Side, we show you from the start to the finish, even to the point where sometimes you see the camera starting to shake because they're getting the camera off of the tripod to turn the camera off. I mean, we show you everything. So it's great to have that transparency, especially in media. It's something that, you know, for years we were not used to seeing something like that. But now in conservative media, we're able to show you all of the goods when it comes to what's going on in our government. So speaking of that, let's go to the Vice President, J.D. Vance, a few sound bites because we did air that in its entirety earlier, so you can check out that if you'd like. But these are from the Vice President in Israel from earlier today.
I think it's important for Americans to know a couple of things. Number one, there are not going to be American boots on the ground in Gaza. The President of the United States has made that very clear. All of our military leadership has made that very clear. What we can do is provide some useful coordination. How do you take, the Gulf Arab states, plus Israel, plus plus the Turks, plus the Indonesians? How do you actually get those folks to work together in a way that actually produces long-term peace? The only real mediators are the United States of America. And so that's the role that we're going to play. I think the American people should be proud of it, but they should know that there are going to be no American boots on the ground in Gaza. The president actually put out a truth this morning that I thought was very instructive. We know that Hamas has to comply with the deal, and if Hamas doesn't comply with the deal, very bad things are going to happen. But I'm not going to do what the President of the United States has thus far refused to do, which is put an explicit deadline on it, because a lot of this stuff is difficult. A lot of this stuff is unpredictable. You basically have two regions in Gaza, one of which is relatively safe, I wouldn't say very safe, and one of which is incredibly dangerous. And part of ensuring that we get to a durable peace is to broaden the scope of the area that's safe. And the International Security Force is a big part of that. We don't yet have the International Security Force set up. That's something we're working towards. We have a number of volunteers who want to participate in that International Security Force. So my point is, I don't think it's actually advisable for us to say this has to be done in a week, because a lot of this work is very hard. It's never been done before. And in order for us to give it a chance to succeed, we've got to be a little bit flexible. I think what you're seeing from our Gulf Arab friends, certainly from our Israeli friends, is a certain amount of impatience with Hamas. But we're going to keep on working at this process, and we're going to keep on trying to bring the deceased hostages home, but also make sure that all Gazans are able to live in a prosperous and safe place. This model, I think, could serve for a foundation for normalization, not just in the Middle East, but across the world. Because what we're taking, again, is a long-term, protracted conflict with two enemies who really don't like each other, and we're actually creating a model that can lead towards sustainable peace. Now, we know that a lot of our Gulf Arab friends would like to have normalized relations with Israel. We know that getting this peace on a sustainable pathway is sort of the critical first step of that. But look, I feel very optimistic about where we are. Knock on wood, you never know how this stuff is going to go. But given what I've seen, given the incredible talent and effort that's going in to the reconstruction of Gaza, to the long-term security of the Gazans in that territory, I feel very good about where we are. And again, if we get this right, I really do think it's going to be a domino that leads to a lot of further peace all across the region.
And if you want to see that speech in its entirety, it did air in its entirety live on our previous broadcast, which is pushing 100,000 views just on YouTube alone. And of course on Rumble, always doing good as well. President Trump hosts a Rose Garden speech there, that lunch with the GOP. So you can watch that if you'd like, as we continue our live coverage right here on Right Side. In the meantime, let's go to another video from the Department of Homeland Security. This is an update from DHS. Let's take a look.
This is Micah Bach, Deputy Assistant Secretary at the Department of Homeland Security. DHS was created to defend our homeland and secure the promises our founders left this nation almost 250 years ago. This sacred task extends inward from our borders and into our communities as we seek to shape and secure our nation and culture from foreign threats. This is our promise to you. We will not be deterred by radical influences and individuals who seek to undermine the cultural fabric of our republic, and we will stand resolutely against anarchy and terrorism that threatens our streets, our communities, and our way of life. This week, U.S. Coast Guard announced that Operation Pacific Viper has intercepted over 100,000 pounds of cocaine in the Eastern Pacific since early August. This is a seismic blow to the cartels poisoning our communities. The Trump administration is striking at the heart of these narco-terrorist networks, cutting off the flow of these deadly drugs and saving countless American lives. As the Democrat-led shutdown continues, DHS remains steadfast. Even without pay, our federal law enforcement officers are defending our cities under siege. In Illinois, Operation Midway Blitz has led to the arrest of over 1,700 criminals. In Portland, Oregon, as Antifa terrorists have surged against our federal facilities, our officers have survived their attacks and worked swiftly to round up and arrest these violent criminals. President Trump and Secretary Noem stand firmly with our law enforcement. We will crush this campaign of terror against them. There is no moral ambiguity between these two sides. There is only one side protecting rapists, murderers, and drug traffickers. There is only one side ramming law enforcement, throwing Molotov cocktails, and firing sniper rifles at our officers from rooftops. And there is only one side that is sacrificing everything to bring safety and security back to our streets. Every criminal, terrorist, and illegal alien will face the full force of American justice. Though they are demonized, smeared, and assaulted, our brave men and women of ICE are working non-stop to arrest and remove the worst of the worst criminal illegal aliens, including a wanted murderer who is evading arrest in Virginia. Politicians like Schumer, Pritzker, and sanctuary politicians have not only protected these violent criminal illegal aliens, but they've done so over the safety of Americans. They've also supported these violent criminals who want our federal law enforcement officers dead. If you're watching this video and you understand the weight of this moment and the mighty importance of protecting our nation, then join us. We've had record numbers of Americans answering the call, with 20,000 in just 2 weeks at USCIS and 175,000 applicants at ICE. Go to uscis.gov/join or join.ice.gov to join us in our mission to make America safe again. We'll see you next week.
And something you will not hear on the mainstream media, a shout out to everybody at ICE, Homeland Security, that are doing the job of what President Trump promised on the campaign trail of the mass deportations. That's part of the 20 core promises to the American people. And we are the ones, the majority of the nation said, we want President Trump in there and we want him to do X, Y, and Z, which that's number 2 out of the 20 core promises is the mass deportation operation. Number 1 is to seal the border. And we're going to get an update from the southern border in just a bit. And, you know, if someone's liberal watching right now wondering, you know, are you just brainwashed? Do you just love Trump and you just want all? It's common sense stuff. You want safety in your country. You want to believe in God, family, country, freedom, and we want to have all of the common sense policies for the best of this nation to make this country great again. So that's really all it is. And the law is pretty clear when it comes to if you're an illegal criminal alien, especially that's a double crime, actually. If you're an illegal alien, you're in here illegally. And then if you're committing a crime, that's another crime on top of that. Then if you resist arrest or if you, you know, there's so many things. And that's just one part of what's going on in our country, of course, let alone the indictments that we're seeing trickle in when it comes to the deep state. If there's evidence and all of that, receipts, well, people have to be held accountable for these kind of crimes. And outside of that, we just want to get back to, you know, making America great again. And we're seeing that in various pockets of our country, including when it comes to the National Guard being in Washington, D.C., or Chicago, Memphis, that kind of thing. So we're also hearing that a judge has ruled in the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals that the National Guard is allowed to go to Portland, Oregon. Talk about a place that needs a good fix-up, right? So there you go. You know, we're just wanting the best for our country. We want our country to be safe. We want our country to be healthy, wealthy, secure, free. It's all the basics. So let's go to day 21 now, of course, of the government shutdown, thanks to Chuck Schumer and the Democrats. The GOP press conference was earlier today. Of course, that also aired right here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. But here's a clip from the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson.
Do not let them distract you from the facts. The American people would have an open government if Democrats were not terrified of their radical base. That is the headline. Every single one of you should write that. That's the ugly truth. The Democrats are not governing in good faith. They're covering their own tail. They're out here decrying the so-called forthcoming health care crisis, they say. It's the one that they themselves created. The Democrats created Obamacare. They're the ones that created a subsidy with an expiration date. They're the ones that did all of this. Republicans are trying to fix it. And they're trying to blame Republicans for the crisis they themselves created. They cry foul when we won't bail them out of their own shutdown. I don't have anything to offer, as I've explained. I don't have any partisan priority I can pull off of the CR to make it more palatable for them. There's nothing to negotiate. They just have to do what they've always done in the past, that they did 13 times during the Biden administration, and they did as recently as March of this year, to open the government so that people can get their services and their paychecks.
And we'll get to some more videos from our government and from others being affected by the government shutdown. Again, all of these videos that we show you guys, these are not stale in the sense of, 4 weeks ago. And in some cases, it is, because there's nothing stale about the next video. It was 1 month ago today in Glendale, Arizona, at the late, great Charlie Kirk's memorial, that a spiritual renewal began in America to this day and beyond. Let's take a look at one of the moments from that day that we won't ever forget.
I know it's not much, nothing else. One more time. So I throw up my head, praise you again and again. All that I have is hallelujah, hallelujah. And I know it's not holy are you, Lord God Almighty. Worthy is for you are holy, holy are you, Lord God Almighty. Worthy is the Lamb. Come on, tell them now. For you are holy, holy are you, Lord God Almighty. Worthy is the Lamb, worthy is the Lamb, for you are holy,
Wow, right? That was 1 month ago today, September 21st, 2025. I still have it pinned at the top of my Truth Social because I know you guys were impacted by that. I was impacted, the whole country and the world when it comes to the free world, people that are people of faith, That was definitely the start of a spiritual renewal and the memory of the late, great Charlie Kirk. We won't ever forget any of that. And that's why I wanted to play it again here, because it's something that we can all kind of not really reminisce, but kind of like continue on with. Powerful moments there in Glendale, Arizona, 1 month to the day. If you've never been to a concert like that, a praise concert, try and get to one. I've been to a number of them. It's powerful stuff. But outside of that, whether large or whether small or whether just in your own room praying to God, it's all powerful stuff, and it's a spiritual renewal. Again, I remember talking to my buddy about that pretty recently. He was saying, yeah, that thing there on the 21st was powerful. You remember when Tucker and all of the different speakers, and you think about all of the heads of state that were there in the sense of heads of departments. Of course, President Trump was there, but the world saw that moment. And I encourage you, if you want to watch something like that again, check it out on RSBN or tvOS site, of course. You get an opportunity to watch all of those moments there. And it's not just a moment, it's a heart cry of a nation that wants to get closer to God and also be free, to have that freedom. And if you don't want to go to a concert, if you don't want to go to church, obviously we have that freedom too, right? So it was just quite the moment, and we won't ever forget it. 1 month ago today. It's 4:52 Eastern time. We have a number of sponsors to get to, a number of videos to get to. Again, all of this within the 24/7 news cycle, except for that moment there, which was still within the news cycle because it was exactly 1 month ago today. We'll have more updates for you from these other parts of government and news that we're following. And then we'll be getting to the president there for the celebration for Diwali, which will be at 4 o'clock Eastern time, about 7 minutes from now, if it starts on time. If not, we'll be here for you. All right, let's go to chapter right now. For many in our audience, it's Medicare annual enrollment time. So if you're 64 or older, you know what that means. It's nonstop robocalls, junk mail, spam texts for people trying to sell you something. The truth is, Medicare is confusing on purpose, and who benefits? It seems like these big insurance companies do. So every year they quietly change their plans. Some plans they even drop completely. This leaves millions of Americans stuck on plans that cost too much or cover too little. So even if you're liking your current plan, you've got to look at 2026 options here. So that's where Chapter comes in. It doesn't work for big insurance or the government. They're independent. They're the only advisors who compare every Medicare plan nationwide to find the one that fits your needs and preferences. They make things quick and easy, and it takes under 20 minutes to review your options. Now, if your plan's still the best for you in 2026, great, you're done. You don't have to worry about it anymore. But if not, they'll help you switch. Chapter, on average, really helps with this. People who work with Chapters save $1,100 a year, and the best part is their help is free. So don't let the system take advantage of you. Call that number you see right there on your screen, 833-438-3359. Let Chapter make your Medicare work for you. Great sponsor here at Right Side Broadcasting Network. Same thing with mypillow.com/RSBN. The great Mike Lindell, the great MyPillow. Always great to buy stuff off of this website. Use the RSBN promo code. More than 2,000 products to choose from. Also, if you want to get some coffee, My Coffee's good. The pillows are great. The Giza Dream Sheets, wonderful. And the list goes on. So mypillow.com/RSBN. And especially as Mike goes through a few of the court situations out there, always good to help Mike Lindell anytime. So mypillow.com/RSBN is the website. As we are 5 minutes from the top of the hour, looking live at Washington, D.C., of course, the White House, which is undergoing some construction, as you guys may have seen, and also for the new White House ballroom. This is one of many renovations or additions or that kind of thing that have happened over the decades there at the White House, and we are going to see another one with the ballroom coming up over the years. We'll see how long it takes. All right, so let's return now as we await the president there. As soon as we see a live feed, and I know I say this all the time, but I'd like to be transparent with you guys. As soon as we see a live feed to the event, whatever event we're covering, any day of the week, whether we're in the middle of talking about a sponsor or if we're in the middle of showing a video, we'll cut directly to the live feed as soon as we see one. But in the meantime, let's return now quite far from the United States to Israel, where Vice President J.D. Vance had this to say in his opening remarks. That's clip 6.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's great to have you. Look, I think that we are 1 week into President Trump's historic peace plan in the Middle East, and things are going, frankly, better than I expected that they were. This is a very, very tough situation. You have two peoples, two enemies who have fought a very tough conflict against each other. You have a terrorist organization on one hand that murdered a lot of innocent people. You've got an Israeli army that was defending itself on the other, that has learned a lot over the past couple of years. And then, of course, you have an innocent civilian population in Gaza that's caught in the middle. But we're here at the Civilian Military Cooperation Center, which we are announcing the opening of. You have Israelis and Americans working hand in hand to try to begin the plan to rebuild Gaza, to implement a long-term peace, and to actually ensure that you have security forces on the ground in Gaza, not composed of Americans, who can keep the peace over the long term. So we've got a lot of work left to do. This is going to take a very, very long time, but I think Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner, and Admiral Cooper behind me have done an incredible job. I want to say just a couple of quick things, and then I want to turn it over to Steve Witkoff. Number one, the Israeli government has been remarkably helpful in this. I want to thank them, thank our Israeli partners, and all the folks particularly who are working hand in hand with their American friends here at the CMCC. And number two, I want to say that there is this weird attitude I've sensed in the American media, in the Western media, where there's almost this desire to root for failure, that every time something bad happens, that every time that there's an act of violence, there's this inclination to say, oh, this is the end of the ceasefire, this is the end of the peace plan. It's not the end. It is, in fact, exactly how this is going to have to happen when you have people who hate each other, who have been fighting against each other for a very long time. We are doing very well. We are in a very good place. We're going to have to keep working on it, but I think we have the team to do exactly that.
And of course, if you missed any of that speech from Israel, from the vice president, you can go ahead and check out the other live stream that happened earlier today. Maybe watch that after this live stream here as we get ready to see President Trump. And a shout out to the vice president. How awesome was the X post that he made to the Democrat Harry Sisson, the kid out there, talking about the King Trump Air Force jet. Remember the meme, the AI meme, and the Air Force jet dropping some droppings on Harry Sisson. And Harry Sisson was saying, well, on X, can a reporter please ask the president why he posted this video? And then, of all people, the vice president of the United States chimes in on X and says, sure, Harry, I'll ask him. Quite the back and forth. Isn't it an interesting time we live in, right? With all of the information that is at our fingertips in a second, whether it's a video from another country or someone saying something across the globe, we can see it quickly. But regardless, the fact that a vice president can speak to a citizen that quickly, it's just pretty wild to watch and interesting, especially when it's some trolling and some memes going on. Always fun to have that entertainment indirectly as well. All right, let's go now to the southern border. Actually, yeah, let's go to the southern border where we have an update from the Department of War. This is about a 7-minute video, but really worth your time, because you think about the fact that President Trump wanted the border to be sealed, made this a national priority, of course, through the campaign trail, and then declared it a national emergency for our country. And so without the boots on the ground that you're about to see, the border would be wide open. But we have Customs Border Protection doing a great job. And then we have our military working right there alongside them, securing our southern border. So we're going to go to that video as it's 4 o'clock, top of the hour. We'll be seeing the president here shortly. As soon as we do, we'll take it live. In the meantime, let's go to the southern border and get this update from the Department of War.
Traffic year we've had in a quarter of a century. We've got a presence on the border that we've never used before. The DoD is kind of an ultimate force multiplier. The things that they used to do don't work anymore. night and day difference. Those days are over. The border's more secure than it's ever been. You can never rest easy. You sleep with one eye open the rest of your life, because the moment we find you, you're deported.
Historically, joint task forces have been established to conduct one specific purpose or mission. Joint Task Force Southern Border's mission is to support CBP and control the southern border of the United States using multi-domain control across all operations. Joint Task Force Southern Border has 7 total subordinate task force. 3 of those task force are maneuver elements, maneuver brigades. They do most of the actual actions on the border and all other operations that a typical maneuver element would do.
Mainly we're here to observe and report and allow the Border Patrol to be able to do their mission. We are out on the border itself in order to detect these individuals as they come across the border.
But we also have Lakotas, and our other aviation platforms include Blackhawks and Chinooks, which gives us mobility over extremely rough terrain that may not be navigatable by regular vehicles.
Our main support here, our main focus is aerial observation and reconnaissance. We have an aircraft with cameras on it. That's called the mission, the MEP, the Mission Equipment Package. But really, we're coordinating with the agents on the ground to either help spot potential personnel on the ground, or in certain scenarios, keep them bedded down, so to speak. So if they are moving in a difficult terrain, sometimes just having a helicopter overhead, they'll keep people hidden up in a bush or something like that, and give the agents on the ground enough time to complete their mission.
We have one sustainment brigade that pretty much sustains the fight all the way across the 1,954 miles of our joint operations area. And so without them, none of the elements would actually be able to sustain what they're doing. So they're a critical component. And then lastly, we have 2 elements that provide engineering support. One of them is a Marine Corps element, and the other one's an Army element. And they basically help with removing obstacles and emplacing or enhancing the border, and doing a litany of other tasks that are specific to engineers.
The DoD is kind of an ultimate force multiplier. They're in the areas that we have the hardest time patrolling, the hardest time monitoring, the hardest time putting technology into. They're filling those gaps, reporting to their superiors and to our superiors, hey, here's the activity going on in this area. We've got help at several different sectors, just doing maintenance on vehicles so we can get more agents to the border. We've got new technology that we've never seen before. DoD is thirsty for data, and they take all the data and they turn it into something actionable.
Yeah, the unique military capabilities we have along the southern border right now. Currently, we have the Stryker platform, which is able to move through rough terrain. It has exceptional observation platform capabilities, as well as communications capabilities that wasn't along the border. Observation platforms, making our own observation posts, and using our military communications. Additionally, we have the drone buster, which we use. It basically disrupts the frequency, sends the drone back to where it came from, which prevents them from conducting observation of our patrols, as well as our static sites where our soldiers are. We also have employed some, they're called G-bosses, which are sensor cameras that enable us to see far distances and identify illegal aliens that potentially could be trying to cross.
Our unique capabilities are just our soldiers. They're physically fit. They can get into these mountains on foot. They can utilize our vehicles that we have, the Strykers, our JLTVs, whatever it is that we're rolling around in. We can ride on any vehicle we got, but when we get on the ground, it's up to those soldiers and those squad leaders and team leaders to get out there and get this job done, and they're absolutely crushing it.
The DoD's presence on the southern border has jammed up everything. The things that they used to do, the illegals on the south side, don't work anymore. They spent the last 100 years watching the Border Patrol, and now there's a new game in town, several thousand strong, new outfits, new technologies. They don't know what their capabilities are, so they've had to rethink everything they're doing, because It's not working the old way anymore.
Since JTF Southern Border has taken over, we have increased our authorities and our ability to actually use our unique military capabilities. We can now, within the national defense areas, and essentially what it is, it's an extension of a military installation, which allowed us to extend the same authorities we have on a military installation for people that would trespass in those national defense areas along the border. And what that does is it grants us the authorities to temporarily detain people, use our counter UAS. We are able to do patrolling like we weren't able to do before. And that has increased our effectiveness and our ability to truly control that border. And it put an extreme burden on the CBP agents when they were at low manning to kind of cover a lot more distance without assistance.
It's night and day difference. This is the slowest traffic year we've had in a quarter of a century. Last June, we had 83,000 apprehensions, give or take. This June, we had 6,000.
Some would say it's a policy change that's done that. Well, I like to think that we are the policy change. Putting the Stryker Brigade and the Stryker Battalions on the border as a deterrent, it's made a huge impact. And that's what we're sitting here to do, and just judging by the result, it's working.
Part of our goal is to close the border, gain 100% situational awareness. The other part of that goal is to be able to sustain that after DOD leaves. This affects the future of everybody here, everybody in America. All of our children are affected by how effective we are on the border. It's critical for the future of this country, what we're doing out there on the ground every day.
Okay, you're watching an update from the Department of War along the southern border there. You can see all of our troops doing a great job with Customs Border Protection. You remember that was, of course, the #1 item there for the core promises to the American people, is to seal the border. So you can see, obviously that's been done, but you have to stay there, and they're there, and we'll see what happens with any plans for the future. But great to see the troops and Customs Border Protection doing an awesome job along our southern border. Before we get to some more of the 24/7 updates and videos and tracking a few news stories, just want to let you know, of course, we're awaiting the president there as he's going to host the Diwali celebration at the White House. In the meantime, if you'd like to donate to Right Side Broadcasting Network, all you have to do is text RSBN to 801-801. Simply text RSBN to 801-801. I'll get you a link right to where you got to go to donate to the network. Also, you can go to rsbnetwork.com/donate as well. If you'd like to send snail mail, cash or a check, which some do here at the network still, over the years, some monthly donors, they send via mail. You can go to a P.O. box or send it to a P.O. box. That is 1550 Opelika Road, Suite 6, Box 344, Auburn, Alabama, 36830. Again, as we continue to expand here at the network and cover all sorts of news stories, especially the White House and the president and the events that you guys see and have grown accustomed to watching, we're thankful for any donations that you guys give, but also it's great that we're not bought and paid for by some woke business or corporation. This is through and through grassroots since 2015, all the way 10 years to today and beyond into the future. So if you'd like to donate, again, just text RSBN to 801-801. Thanks so much for doing so, as it is now 4:09, Tuesday, October 21st. Let's get back to a few more headlines and also some updates from various government entities, including the U.S. Department of Interior, talking about this good old 21 days of this government shutdown that we're facing. Let's go take a look at that right now.
American energy dominance is fueling a brighter, more affordable future for every American. For the first time since the disastrous Biden administration, which saw years of soaring costs for American families, the national average for gas prices has dropped below $3 a gallon. From South Carolina to Minnesota to Michigan, states are reporting significant price drops, and this milestone is no coincidence. It's the direct result of President Donald Trump's bold directive to unleash American-made energy. Today, 35 states are averaging $2.99 or less at the pump. bringing real relief to hardworking families just in time for the holiday travel season. At the Department of the Interior, we're cutting burdensome red tape, expediting permits, and moving domestic oil and mineral production forward. The results speak for themselves, and we're just getting started.
And any of you watching from the California area and even Arizona, I remember talking to a buddy the other day saying gas prices were pretty high there. Hopefully they'll go down too. I know it's not easy to see some of those price tags when it comes to the gallon of gas in California, but a majority of the country seeing that dip in gas prices, always good to see that. Now, outside of gas prices, you know, we talk about all the different things that are happening, of course, within government, within the wins of the administration. And I know a lot of you are saying, well, we love all of this. We want that to continue, but we want this to be something that is long-term for our nation. We want our freedom to stay put. We want our Constitution to be the law of the land outside of President Trump in the future as well. And a number of people that I've spoken to, not only on this program, but just in general, are saying the best way to do that is the people that have broken the law, the deep state actors who, again, Tulsi Gabbard spoke about this, Carolyn Leavitt has spoken about this, President Trump has spoken about this. When it comes to having the accountability for those that have broken the law, because if that doesn't happen, will the next administration, if it's not a Republican, if it's not America First, or even maybe after that election in 2032 or whatever, right? Won't they just come in here and say, for those of you that were just watching the southern border, right? You saw the troops along the border. Can't that next president, if it's not someone on the right side of history, just say, pull the troops. We don't want any more of that. No more deportations. We don't want any of that. Oh, that America Golden Dome, we don't want that either. What we do want is you guys out there, you're sharing disinformation. You're lying to the people. That's a hate crime. That's happening right now in the United Kingdom, that part of it. And there's other places around the world that people are facing that. So that's the cold, hard truth. So yes, I want to talk about gas prices. Yes, I want to talk about all the good wins that are happening in this administration. And there are so many. Thank God for President Trump. Thank God for all of us true and through MAGA, common sense, just lovers of God, faith, family, freedom. You know I say that a lot here at the network, but it's why not sink your teeth into the things that we all really believe in? And so just know that in context, when we do talk about various stories, that's really on our hearts. That's on our minds. We understand that it's going to take a whole lot for us to really cement in these reforms that we're seeing. A lot of institutional change, a lot of things that need to be done for our country. And, you know, you think about people like T.S. Dixon, Tom Renz, and others out there that are out there saying these things. Steve Bannon saying these things. So it's not just one person. There's a lot of you out there, and I know you guys agree with that as we continue our live coverage right now, awaiting President Trump there at the White House. Let's go to the White House from a little bit earlier, as President Trump had this to say from an event at the Rose Garden that aired live right here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. Take a look.
From the beginning, our message has been very simple. We will not be extorted on this crazy plot of theirs. They've never done this before. Nobody has. You always vote for an extension. Chuck Schumer and the Senate Democrats need to vote for the clean, bipartisan CR and reopen our government. It's got to be reopened right now. We're not doing that. They are the obstructionists. And the reason they're doing it is because we're doing so well. We're doing well all over the world. We're doing well with the close to $20 trillion that I just told you about. It will be that number, but even if you take it down to over 17, that's a guarantee. We're doing well with everything.
So again, we're in day 21 of this government, Democrat, Schumer shutdown, whatever you'd like to call it, but it's definitely not coming from the right side of history. It's coming from people that are just trying to slow down and disrupt the agenda that we all voted for. You know, this isn't just against President Trump. This isn't just because, you know, he was successful in business and still is after the presidency, a great president. It's not just against the person of Donald J. Trump. It's against all of us because we voted for that guy. That's our representative, right? So every time they really go against us, that's really what's happening. Is it's not against just the president, it's against the entire country. But we already know that. We know through the preaching of the choir that happens sometimes here at the network that, okay, we've got some extreme leftists that are trying to destroy the country, bring in communism, Marxism, a technocracy, all these things that are anti the Constitution, anti-God, faith, family, and freedom. But this is why we're in the fight. This is why when President Trump stood up on that day, J13, he didn't say, lay down, lay down, lay down. He didn't say, go home. He said, fight, fight, fight. And the fighting, of course, is the prayer, the hard work, the voting, the winning of elections through secure elections, through speaking out, through not staying silent, through having courage. And you get a lot of courage through a connection, I believe, with God. It's pretty simple stuff. And as you know that he is real, first of all, you might be saying, what are you talking about? Well, you can have that connection with God where you can know his presence, know that he's real, and know that he's with you. And it's part of why we're even here on this earth. I know I'm getting on a rabbit trail, but sometimes I do that. All right, let's get back to it, though. The Democrat shutdown, day 21, is no fun, no good. And the Energy Secretary, Chris Wright, was just out there in the great silver state of Nevada, beautiful area. I remember going to Reno for one of President Trump's rallies. And when we were flying into the left of the plane, I saw right out there, I posted the video on Truth, and it was the gorgeous Lake Tahoe with the mountains around there. God's country is beautiful, isn't it? Well, let's go to Nevada again, but this time it's an update on the government shutdown. So it's not great news, but this is the take from Chris Wright, the Energy Secretary. Listen up.
Here at the Nevada National Security Site, but yet here we are, day 20, in an absolutely reckless, irresponsible, Chuck Schumer and Democrat-driven shutdown, putting at risk our national nuclear security and the Nevadan families that work in it. Earlier today, I was down at the Nevada field office and sadly had to see 68 furloughed federal workers walk out of the door, unable to go to work today, unable to get paid. Fortunately, the Trump administration worked and creatively found funding to keep the thousands of contractors that work at the site behind me and across the complex going to at least the end of this month. We don't know how much longer we can go after that. We need to end this reckless shutdown. It's too important to mess with national security, too important to mess with the economic futures and security of Nevadan families.
All right, still awaiting the president. You're seeing a little bit more activity outside of the White House there. So as soon as that event starts, we'll take you there live. I'm hearing that this is actually going to be inside the Oval Office, but who knows? Maybe they will switch and have something outside. I'm not sure who's to the right there. I thought I saw possibly Carolyn Levitt, maybe not. But what we do know is if anybody stops by, the camera is right there. We'll take this live as we get ready to see President Trump in just a bit. You know, last week, or actually earlier this week, Carolyn Levitt literally on live TV just stopped at the podium there. We took it live, as that's what we do here at RSBN Live. So glad to have you here with us as we continue to cover everything inside the Beltway, outside the Beltway. As you saw earlier on the prior broadcast with Robert McNeely, we had the Vice President out there in Israel speaking as well. All right, let's go back here stateside for an update on some of the ICE mass deportations. Let's go to that update right now. right, so it's 4:20 Eastern time. Thanks so much for live streaming in with us. As soon as we see the president, we'll take you there in just a second. In the meantime, let's go over some of what happened today. Of course, at 11 this morning, the president participated in the Richard Nixon Architect of Peace Awards ceremony. At 12 o'clock, the president hosted a Rose Garden Club lunch for the Senate Republicans. At 4 o'clock, or soon, the president will participate in a Diwali celebration. And tonight at 7, I believe it is closed press, meaning there'll be no live cameras there. Sometimes, again, that changes, so we'll see. The president will host a Rose Garden Club dinner. President Trump also saying numerous of our now great allies in the Middle East informed me that they would welcome the opportunity at my request to go into Gaza with a heavy force and strengthen our Hamas, or straighten our Hamas if Hamas This is a typo, I think, that I'm reading right now, so I'm not going to continue to read that there. Let's shift gears out of that to gas prices. We see that gas prices are dropping across the country amid record oil production, with the national average recently falling below $3 a gallon. We're also seeing that fentanyl trafficking across the southern border is down almost 53%, thanks to President Trump. And then, of course, it's day 21 of the Democrat shutdown. We know that Democrats have, get this, voted 12 times to shut down the government, and they're proud of it. Even the Senator John Fetterman of Pennsylvania admits that Democrats are responsible for the shutdown, saying, quote, shutting the government is really what the Democratic Party wants to do. That according to John Fetterman. And then, of course, they're boldly embracing the shutdown, saying things like, every day it gets better for us, that kind of thing. So obviously looking to see this government back open at least, as we are now 21 days into it. Let's go to a number of our sponsors, and then what we'll do is we're going to go to the GOP press conference with Mike Johnson from earlier as we await President Trump there for this event. In the meantime, let's go to All Family Pharmacy. Every year, of course, it's the same story. Someone in the family starts coughing. You think it's just a little cold, and then suddenly half the house is sick. And this year, we're already seeing it. Flu cases are climbing fast right now, and COVID, of course, is unfortunately creeping back too. The problem is when everyone starts getting sick at once, pharmacies and clinics get slammed, and you can't find what you actually need. That's why it pays to be prepared before it hits your home. And if you're the kind of person who likes to plan ahead and keep your family protected, All Family Pharmacy is here to help. You can order what you and your family might need in advance, so it's ready when you need it most. They have antibiotics to have on hand for bacterial infections, Tamiflu for the flu, ivermectin for parasites, and all these other off-label uses, and hydroxychloroquine as well. There are more than 200 medications to choose from. Every order is reviewed by a licensed doctor and ships right to your door. No insurance or extra appointments needed. You don't have to wait. You can go to allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN and get 10% off with that RSBN 10 promo code there. Let's go to Monetary Gold as well. Two banks have already failed in 2025, and with $37 trillion in national debt, Monetary Gold says more failures are on the way, unfortunately. And it's not fear-mongering, it's reality, because the banking system is built on quicksand, and every new failure threatens depositors, retirement accounts, and pensions. The government can't bail out everyone, and when confidence collapses, so does the system. So Monetary Gold tells us not to get trapped holding worthless paper. Call 888-617-7994 today, or visit rsbnforthegold.com and secure your wealth with real assets. All right, it's 4:24. Let's see if we have a live feed at all from the White House. If we don't, we'll go to the GOP press conference from earlier as we await President Trump. Thanks so much for watching. Let's go to the GOP press conference right now.
Well, welcome everybody. Day 21 of the Democrat shutdown. It's now 3 weeks since the Democrats have decided to close the entire federal government. I mentioned yesterday when we were gathered that this is now the longest full shutdown in American history. And yet again, Senate Democrats voted for the 11th time, 12 times overall, when you count House and Senate Democrats, to prolong the pain and keep the government closed. So we want to talk very briefly with you this morning about what that means, and then we're going to give you a little update on the Epstein matter. So far, this is what it means. So far, what this shutdown has caused to the economy and to the people of this country is really unconscionable. The U.S. economy has now lost hundreds of billions of dollars. We have federal workers who are desperate for pay and uncertain when they will get their next paycheck. You got families wondering if they'll go without food assistance next month because many people rely upon that. New federal loans and disaster aid have come to a complete halt, and the stewards of our nuclear defense stockpile are being sent home on furlough. Think of the implications of all this. All of it hurts the economy, it hurts our national security, and it hurts the American people, and the Democrats seem not to care. I was watching Republican Senate Majority Whip Barrasso this morning on an interview, and he said it, I think, very succinctly. He said the Democrats are practicing the politics of pain. I'm not sure I could say that any better. That's exactly what it is. And you think of what's happening right now. Think of what they have demanded in exchange as a ransom, the hostage they've taken to reopen the government. They're demanding taxpayer-funded health benefits be restored to illegal aliens. They're demanding that we spend billions of dollars overseas for ridiculous programs that the American people do not support. They want to claw back the $50 billion that we just got signed into law on July 4th to support our rural hospitals and all sorts of other crazy things. They're demanding taxpayer-funded health benefits for illegal aliens instead of agreeing to pay our men and women in uniform and provide vital health services and all the things that our most vulnerable Americans depend upon. It is unforgivable. And this is an indisputable fact. Everybody can see this, and everybody in this room knows what I'm about to say is true. Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries are terrified of their far left base in New York and around the country. So they have given in to their demands to shut down the government so that they themselves can get the left's approval and somehow salvage their political careers. That is the whole story in one sentence, okay? That's why Schumer said shamelessly that every day of the shutdown gets better for us. Who's the us? He's talking about he and Hakeem and the Democrats who are afraid of the far left base. So today I want to put a finer point on some of the very real consequences we're seeing and what they mean for Americans around the country. And I'll zoom in on some of these key Democrat states where the senators continue to dig their heels in and vote against opening the government. Yesterday from NBC News, here's the headline, air traffic control staffing issues cause flight delays across the country. The Secretary of Transportation said 53% of flight delays are now due to staffing issues, and usually that number is 5%. From Colorado, food banks face growing crises as shutdown impacts become a reality. That's the headline from Sky High News. What are Colorado's two Democrat senators doing? You've got Hickenlooper and Bennett. They have both now voted 11 times to keep the government closed. Virginia. Here's the headline yesterday, KSL. Virginia employees fear shutdown's impact on veterans' medical care. And meanwhile, their two Democrat senators, Tim Kaine and Mark Warner, have voted repeatedly to put their thumb in the eye of those veterans.
Reporters, just stay right here. abundance of riches. Yeah.
You want to go up and just do this?
Come on. You're good, Peter. It's Anna. What is it? Good. This is the best. IBM, the whole group, huh? What a wonderful culture and what a wonderful group of people. Thank you very much for coming. It's really nice. Thank you. Come on, slide over here. Thank you. To the media, I will tell you, this is a serious group of people. All right? That's great. Thank you very much. Look at the people, huh? So seriously, the biggest business people anywhere in the world, so I think it's a great tribute. Whatever they're teaching you well, right? Thank you very much, and welcome to the White House as we celebrate Diwali, because they said emphasis on the V, Diwali, the beautiful Hindu festival of lights, and that's what it is. It's a great festival and it's amazing people. I'm pleased to be joined by the Director of the National Intelligence and a woman that's done a fantastic job, Tulsi Gabbard, wherever you may be, Tulsi. Hi, Tulsi. FBI Director Kash Patel, who's really hitting his stride. Cash, where's Cash?
Right here.
He is hitting his stride. That's the way we like it. Assistant Attorney Dillon, Harmeet.
I'm right here, sir.
Hi, Harmeet. And Pastor Paula White. She's been fantastic. She's been with us right from the beginning. We're going to by the Indian Ambassador to the United States, Vinay Quatru. And it's very nice. Pronounce it perfectly. That's what. Oh, I wasn't too far off there. And his wonderful wife. And thank you very much. It's a great honor to have you. As well as our new ambassador to India. This is a nice, easy name, Sergio Bora. Sergio, congratulations, Sergio. You're going to do a fantastic job. And thanks as well to incredible Indian American business leaders, the biggest in the world, really. If you look at these companies, what they've done, the biggest in the world. CEO of IBM, Arvind Krishna, and Arvind, congratulations. I know you're working hard on a couple of jobs that I'm watching, and good luck with them, right? Yes. Good luck. It's amazing what you've done. CEO of Adobe, and that Adobe is big stuff, and that's Shantanu Narayan. Thank you. Thank you very much, Shantanu. Nice to see you. Thank you very much. CEO of Micron Technology, we know what that is, Sanjay Marotta. Sanjay, nice to see you again. And CEO of Palo Alto Networks, Nikesh Arora. And I want to thank you very much for and great success. It's a hell of a group of people. And in addition to that, we have a lot of other tremendously successful people gathered. On behalf of all Americans, let me also extend our warmest wishes to the people of India. I just spoke to your Prime Minister today. We had a great conversation. We talk about trade. We talk about a lot of things, but mostly the world of trade. He's very interested in that. Although we did talk a little while ago about let's have no wars with Pakistan. And I think the fact that trade was involved, I was able to talk about that. And we have no war with Pakistan and India. That was a very, very good thing. But he's a great person, and he's become a great friend of mine over the years. In a few moments, we'll light the Diya as a symbol of faith in the victory of light over darkness. It's a beautiful term, light over darkness. That's what it's all about. It's knowledge over ignorance and good over evil. During Diwali, revelers recall ancient stories of enemies defeated, obstacles removed, and captives freed. The glow of the Diya flame reminds us to seek the path of wisdom and to work with diligence and to always give thanks for our many blessings. And we do have many blessings. Everybody in this room has many blessings. And even I will say, I'm not going to use the word fake news. I refuse to use it. Even the media has some good blessings. One of the blessings is that you didn't have to stand in the mud outside anymore. You now have a beautiful stone surface, the identical color of the White House. For years they had to stand when we had press conference in the mud because it was grass, and I decided to take care of that, so I think they appreciate it. As we look back in the past year and really look up to the next number of years and hopefully decades and centuries, we've got much to be thankful for. And think of it, a year ago we were a dead country. This country was a dead country, and now we're the hottest country anywhere in the world. These guys can testify to that because I know this. I watch their stock prices, and they're like rocket ships, right? Do they ever stop? Let's keep it that way. Right? Let's not talk about it, right? Let's just keep it that way. It's amazing. We have more than $17 trillion. They're part of the reason. More than $17 trillion of investment pouring into the United States. It's going to be, I believe, over $20 trillion by the time the year's up. And as an example, the last administration had less than $1 trillion in a period of their 4-year period. They had less than $1 trillion. We're going to have 20 trillion. We have over 17 trillion already. That's investment coming in. And I think it's largely for two reasons. We had a good election on November 5th, but maybe more importantly, of course, it wouldn't happen if that election result didn't happen. I think much more importantly, we have tariffs that you build in the United States, you don't have a tariff to pay. You build outside and you have to pay a tariff. And we're taking in money at a level that no other country has ever seen. There's never been a country, I don't think, fellas, you agree with that? There's never been a country with an investment in less than a year, and actually to be exact, less than 9 months, of $17 trillion, right? And I know you're all participating, aren't you, huh? So that's really good stuff. The economy is roaring, the incomes are rising, and small business confidence is at the highest level in over a decade. So the confidence levels, which means something, they think over the last 10 years, I don't think they go beyond that. We have the highest level of confidence in our economy. Gasoline prices are way down. Grocery prices are way down. Energy prices are way down. Mortgage rates are down. We have a real stiff at the Federal Reserve. I can't help that. But he's going to be leaving soon. And inflation has been defeated. But even though his rates are too high, the economy has been amazing. Our border is secure, totally secure. We had nobody in the last 4 months coming through illegally, which is actually hard to believe because, they give me those numbers, but essentially it would be just about nobody. They actually say zero. That's actually hard to believe. You have zero when you had millions pouring across a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, but we have it down to practically nobody. And they are coming in, but they're coming in legally. And we're forging peace all over the world. We're putting America first. We're getting everybody to sort of get along. And I just got a call from the Middle East. We're doing very well there. We have many, many countries, as you know, signed on to peace in the Middle East, and nobody thought they'd ever see that happening. The Hamas situation, where they're pretty violent people, I would say, that we could put that out in 2 minutes. We're giving them a chance. They agreed that they'd be very good, very, very straight. They wouldn't be killing people, and they have killed people. That wasn't the deal we made, but if they don't honor the deal, they'll be taken care of very quickly, but I'd rather not have to do that. But we have total peace in the Middle East. We have levels of friendship with everybody, and every countries that hated each other now love each other. Nobody ever saw anything like it. I think you guys are pretty surprised over here, right? You're surprised, but a lot of people are surprised. Are you guys surprised? Peace in the Middle East. You've been hearing about it for as long as you've been alive, and it's been a lot longer than that. You're still pretty young, but we have peace in the Middle East. And so as we light the Diya, we look forward to a new year and a greater peace and a greater everything for all of us. And we want tremendous success, tremendous health. We're doing a lot of things in the world of health. And the autism situation is just crazy when you think of it. And you go back 20 years, it was 1 in 20,000, and now it's 1 in 12. Is that hard to believe? When I hear that number, it's not even believable. And we think we're onto it. Bobby is doing a great job, and Dr. Oz, all of them, they're really working hard. Nobody's ever seen anything like that. And it's been a very important factor for me. I just say you got to focus on that. We think we have a lot of the answers. We've announced a lot of the answers, actually. But we're looking at many things. We've made tremendous progress. And maybe the thing we've done the best on is prices for our drugs. We have favored nations now, where other nations, as you know, were paying a small fraction of what we were paying. And this was, for many, many years, this was happening. This was set up 30 years ago, where we were paying 10 times more, 12 times more, 5 times more, always tremendous numbers more. And I said, we're not doing that anymore. And the drug companies have agreed, and the countries have agreed. Now, if I didn't have tariffs, I wouldn't have been able to get it. I said, well, if you don't agree, we're going to charge you tariffs for more than the equivalent amount. And amazingly, everybody agreed. So our drug prices are going to be coming down 100%, 200%, 300, 400, 500% in some cases. A pill that cost $10 in London would cost $120 in, think of it, $120 in New York or any place in this country. A drug that cost $86 in Berlin cost $1,300 in New York and throughout the United States. So we're not doing that anymore. So we're just not doing it anymore. So I just want to, and I think that's going to be huge for our anything, Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, anything having to do with health, because the drug prices are going to be coming down. And I tell the story in my last administration, my 4th year, I was so honored because I brought drug prices down. The first time in 28 years, prices were brought down by a certain amount. I'll tell you what the amount was in a second, but by a certain amount. And so at the beginning of the year to the end of the year, I actually brought them down. First time in 28 years that happened. And the number was 1/8 of 1%. That's all I said. But I was proud because first time it ever happened. And now I'm bringing prices down 600%, 700%, 900%, 200%. So I can't believe I actually had a news conference to celebrate 1/8 and 1/4 of 1%. But that was, you learn, right? You learn. So we're doing, and you guys know more about favored nations than anybody. So we're going favored nations, we're demanding it, and we've got it. And as you know, we had Pfizer, we had the big companies, they were all agreed or close to agreeing, but the countries have agreed to it. Actually, the countries would be generally more difficult. If we didn't have the power of tariffs, they wouldn't have agreed. They would have said, nope, you got to pay 10 times more than we're paying. We were paying 10 and 12 times more than other countries for the exact same pill made in the exact same lab or factory. So it's an amazing thing. I think it's an absolute game changer. Nobody's ever even heard of anything like that. And you'll see the results over the next year, year and a half, and I think it's great. So I'd like to ask a person who's really been fantastic. We'll ask a few of the people to say a few words. You're on international television, so don't get nervous. Cash, would you say a few words, please? You've done a fantastic job.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. It's an honor to be a first-generation Indian American whose parents lawfully immigrated to this country. And under your leadership, so many more millions of Americans are living that dream. And to celebrate it here in the Oval Office on Diwali, which you said, rightfully so, is a triumph of good over evil. It's just an incredible honor. It's incredibly humbling. Indian Americans around the world and Indians around the world are thrilled that you are such a profound leader in sharing this diversity with the world, and we can't thank you enough, and happy Diwali, sir.
Great. Well, thank you, and congratulations on everything. And how about a great company, IBM? He's taken this company from, it was a little troubled, as I remember, a few years ago, like 10 years ago, to being one of the hottest companies anywhere in the world. Arvind, could you say a few words?
Thank you, Mr. President. In the spirit of Diwali, we should also acknowledge all that the President and the administration is doing to really boost technology, innovation, and that leading to economic growth. I want to point out, people forget often how much public and private partnerships in the United States have mattered to boost technology. You look at semiconductors, you look at space, you look at the internet, mobile, and hopefully quantum down the road. So, Mr. President, I'd like to thank you for all that you're doing to boost our technology leadership.
Well, you have done amazingly, and I just think it's incredible. I know exactly what you've been through, because it was a troubled company until you came along, and you made it very untroubled. You made it a rocket ship, so I congratulate you. Thank you, Arvind, very much. We have a very, very great company, Adobe, and Shanta, could you say maybe a few words, please?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. President. And first, it's such an honor, to be here in the Oval Office and to celebrate Diwali, which for all of us growing up, as you pointed out, was the victory over triumph over evil, light over darkness. I think what you're doing, Mr. President, to have peace and prosperity and investment in this country is just amazing. And as a company, I think hopefully everybody here is using Photoshop in order to take all these pictures, but I would really like to thank you for your leadership, and we will continue to invest in the U.S. to make sure that we continue to drive innovation.
And your investment's been very large. So how much have you invested, and do you plan to invest in the U.S.?
As far as our investment is concerned, it's all intellectual property, it's people, so we make everything here, so that's the software.
That's good.
And so we're a $20 billion revenue company now. We're one of the largest software companies in the world, and headquarters is Silicon Valley. So thank you, Mr. President.
Fantastic job. How much are you investing IBM?
$150 billion over the next 5 years.
Wow. 150 billion, that's good. Micron's doing pretty good. How's Micron doing? Okay, pretty good.
Mr. President, really a great honor to be here today celebrating Diwali with these excellent peers of ours from the tech industry. And Diwali stands for light, hope, renewal. And the United States is light to the rest of the world. And particularly on the renewal piece, I just want to really applaud you and your team in terms of bringing Renaissance's semiconductor manufacturing here to the U.S. So Micron is investing $200 billion,
$200 billion
in leading-edge memory manufacturing, and in the course of next few years, we'll have 40% of our manufacturing here in the U.S. And this will add, over the course of years, 90,000 jobs and $1.5 trillion impact to the economy. So we are very thankful to the support that we get from your team and Mr. President from you in terms of bringing memory here to the U.S. And memory is key with AI today, right?
Yeah. You always talk about memory. I have a good memory. Those machines have a better memory, right? No matter what you do.
Absolutely.
It's fantastic, really fantastic. Nikesh, Palo Alto is a hot one. And tell me about that. Go ahead, please.
Mr. President, thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure and honor
Great,
to be
great
able
honor.
to celebrate Diwali with you. As my colleagues have said, this is a triumph of good over evil and prosperity, and what you've done in the last 9 months in terms of making the United States one of the most business-friendly administrations and allowing us all an opportunity to go invest, not just in technology but in our people, is just amazing. We are now the largest cybersecurity company in the world, and we just recently,
that's good.
recently spent $25 billion in sourcing technology. So all cyber security is made in the United States because we believe that the next bastion in the world is going to be cyber war, and we just want to make sure we are prepared as a country, and we make sure all of our companies and our critical infrastructure.
Fantastic job. It's amazing what you've done. And all of these people, to me, they mean two things. Big investment, but the big investment I like because of jobs. It's tremendous number of jobs that they've produced. Would you say a couple of things about your great company, please?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm with Stone Point Capital, private equity, which I'm sure you know, and we just raised a new $11.5 billion fund, and we obviously invest very heavily in financial services technology, and so it's actually an honor to be here in the Oval Office with you, and as a fellow Wingfoot member too, it's always a pleasure to be with you, and I got to tell you, you're the best president that I've ever seen, and we're so proud of you.
Thank you. I'm glad I asked him to say Would you like to say something about the great job you're doing? Right here? Anybody back here? These are all incredible people that everybody looks, in the business world, everybody looks up to them. Please, go ahead. Would you like to say something?
Thank you for your
Go ahead,
leadership.
please.
Thank you for your leadership.
I love that. I love this. I didn't ask him.
I'm running a tech business
Thank
for
you,
21
sir.
years. We build products on AI and machine learning. Thank you, Mr. President.
And it's going great, right?
Yes.
Good. How about over here? We have some very unshy people. Harmeet, how about saying a few words?
Well, thank you, Mr. President. It's a tremendous honor to have supported you 3 times and been part of your administration. And on this day of Diwali, I say on behalf of the United States Department of Justice that the message of the triumph of good over evil and knowledge over ignorance and justice over injustice is something that your administration is personifying, and it's a tremendous honor to be part of it, and thank you very much for including us here today.
Good, and you're at the DOJ and doing a fantastic job.
Thank you, sir.
That's great. She's doing a good job, Cash, right? And Tulsi, we know, is doing a good job. What do you think, Tulsi?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. You are doing today what you have done throughout your time in service, is bringing people together from all across the country and all different backgrounds. And this day is, of course, very special to so many of us because while it is the celebration of hope and light and renewal, we can never forget that the source of that hope, light, and renewal comes from God's love for every single one of us. And so today we celebrate God, His love, and the blessings that He has shared with all of us.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you all very much. Anybody like to say anything? Or would you like to say something, please?
Mr. President, let me start first of all by expressing a deep sense of gratitude for opening up White House, Oval Office, your home, to mark Diwali. It's a festival of lights which is celebrated by over 1/5 of humanity. And as Cass said, you are showcasing the strength of diversity through this celebration. So it's truly a great honor, and thank you very much for that. May I also, on behalf of my Prime Minister and my own behalf, wish you and your loved one a very, very happy Diwali greetings, particularly to over 5 million strong Indian diaspora in the US.
Right.
And may I close by making a wish, which is normally we do for Diwali. We wish that the light of Diwali continues to shine on your success and on the strength of India-US partnership.
Thank you very much. Spoke to him today. He's doing well. And your country is doing very well, you know that.
Thank you, Mr. President.
So we're supposed to light something, but I thought maybe because he's had such an outstanding year, I'm going to ask Arvin to maybe do the honors. Can you handle it for me, Arvin? I think you might do a better job than me. So if you could take care of that, that'd be great. He's done a good job. I didn't know you were supposed to do that. I'm glad I asked you.
Would you like to come to light?
Yeah, if you want. Thank you all. Thank you all. If you have some questions, we'll go back.
Mr. President, the meeting with Vladimir Putin is canceled or put on hold. Do you know what happened there, and does that affect your decision whether or not to send tomahawks to Ukraine?
No, I don't want to have a wasted meeting. I don't want to have a waste of time, so I'll see what happens. But we did all of these great deals, great peace deals. They're all peace deals. They're agreements, solid agreements, every one of them. But this one, and I said, go to the line of battle, or the battlefield lines, and you pull back and you go home, and everybody takes some time off because you got two countries that are killing each other. You got two countries that are losing 5,000 to 7,000 soldiers a week. So we'll see what happens. It's we haven't made a determination.
Mr. President, I'm asking the Justice Department to look into the federal investigations into you and look for compensation, and how much are you asking for?
Who's asking for what?
Are you asking the Justice Department to pay you compensation for your federal investigations into you? Are you asking them to pay compensation, and how much?
Into me? I don't get any compensation. I do it for nothing. I gave up my salary. Into me?
No, it's going to be the Justice Department. Are you asking them to pay you compensation for the federal investigations that happened to you? And how much are you asking for?
I guess they probably owe me a lot of money for that. Probably, yeah, that's true. That's very interesting. No, I get no salary. I gave up my salary. It's a good salary. Not as much as these guys make, but that's okay. But it's a lot of money. And I don't, as you know, I didn't take it in the first 4 years. I'm not taking it in these 4 years either. But as far as all of the litigation and everything that's been involved, yeah, they probably owe me a lot of money. But if I get money from our country, I'll do something nice with it, like give it to charity or give it to the White House while we restore the White House. And we're doing a great job in the White House. As you know, the ballroom is under construction. It's going to be, they've been trying to get it for 150 years, and it's really, I think it's going to be fantastic. But we'll see what happens. I mean, we have numerous cases having to do with the fraud of the election, the 2020 election, and because of everything that we found out, I guess they owe me a lot of money, but I'm not looking for money. I'm looking for really, I think it's got to be handled in a proper way. If it's not handled in a proper way, we don't want it to happen again. We can never let what happened in the 2020 election happen again. We just can't let that happen. And so the way we go, I know Keisha's working on it, everybody's working on it, and certainly Tulsi's working on it. We can't let that happen again to our country. Look at what's happened where you have millions of people being allowed to come into our country, all because of a crooked election, where they come from prisons, they come from jails, they come from mental institutions and insane asylums, they're drug dealers. The people that they've allowed to come into our country, we cleaned them out in Washington, D.C. We have a very safe capital right now. We have a capital that's as safe as it can be. But I don't know. I mean, you'd have to ask the lawyers about that.
Mr. President, a comment and a question, please, for you. First of all, you have just won
billion plus hearts around the globe, including in India, by celebrating the Diwali in the White House right here. And my other comments is, Mr. President,
I like his question already.
In February, you and the White House staff gave a warm welcome to the Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi. And after that, I decided to make a short trip to India for you, how popular you are in India. And I went there in a holiest also festival there. Millions of people were there. And also Prime Minister Narendra Modi was addressing a media event, 5,000 people. I was one of them there listening to him. And when I went to several states in India, what I found out, Mr. President, 3 people are most popular there. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, President Donald Trump, Mr. Kash Patel, and also with the surprise, our White House Press Secretary, Caroline Levitt.
She's doing good, huh? She's doing good.
And Mr. President, my question is, you had a great relationship with the people of India when you visited India, and with the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, and also with the Indian American community. Where do we stand today, all those relations from 45 to 47 in the future, Mr. President? Please, thank you.
We stand great, and the people of India, I love the people of India, and we're working on some great deals between our countries. I spoke to the Prime Minister Modi today, as I mentioned before, and we just have a very good relationship. And he's not going to buy much oil from Russia. He wants to see that war end as much as I do. He wants to see the war end with Russia, Ukraine. And as you know, they're not going to be buying too much oil. So they've cut it way back, and they're continuing to cut it way back.
Mr. President, an appeals court recently ruled that you can send the National Guard into Portland, Oregon. Do you feel unfettered to send the National Guard into whatever city you want now?
Well, I guess that was the decision. I can send the National Guard if I see problems. I looked at Portland over the weekend. The place is burning down. It's burning down. We weren't there. We didn't spend much time there because we were waiting for that decision. But the court, maybe that influenced the court. But you look at a place like Portland, it's ridiculous when they say that there's no problem. The place was on fire over the weekend. But we won the case in Court of Appeals. I think it was the Ninth Circuit, so that's pretty good. And a very strong opinion that we have the right to use the National Guard. You would think that would be common sense. We have the right to use the National Guard to put out trouble. Well, that's how I got elected. One of the reasons I got elected.
Mr. President, what changed your mind after talking to Vladimir Putin between then and now? Why did you think that a Budapest summit might be wasted time?
Well, I didn't say anything. I didn't say it would, and you never know what's going to happen. But a lot of things are happening on that front, on the war front with Ukraine and Russia. And we'll be notifying you over the next 2 days as to what we're doing.
Did you hear
a lot of things are happening.
Did you hear something from the
Mr. President, on Ukraine, do you still see a chance for a ceasefire? And what is Putin asking for? Do you still see a chance for a ceasefire? And what is Putin asking for?
I do. It's a vicious look. It's a vicious war. It doesn't really affect us. We sell equipment to them. We sell equipment to NATO, and NATO gives it to Ukraine, but we don't pay anything anymore. Biden spent $350 billion. The war would have never happened if I were president. Would have never, not even a million years. And Putin knows that too. Would have never happened. But it did happen, and I came in, and I have to see if I can put it out. But it doesn't affect us because we're not losing soldiers there. Although, when I first came in, that could have ended up, it's not going to happen, but it could have ended up in World War III. That was really out of control. So now it's they're shooting and they're killing people, and I think Putin wants it to end, and I think Zelensky wants it to end, and I think it's going to end.
Mr. President said he reached out to you about meeting on the government shutdown. Will you meet with him before you leave for Asia on Friday?
Well, I will actually. I'd love to meet with them. I just want them to open up the country first. The country is so hot right now, and they've never voted against, continuation. They've never voted against. They've never done that. They're doing this because they have Trump derangement syndrome. But I would love to meet. I would like to meet with both of them. But I set one little caveat. I will only meet if they let the country open. They have to let the country open. The people want to go back to work. They want to be served. They need the services of some people, and a lot of people need the money, the payroll. So I'll do it as soon as they open up the country. I'd like to meet
So
them.
you won't meet with them until Mr. President, just to be clear, you won't meet with them until the government's open.
The government has to be open, yeah.
Mr. President.
You know how long it would take for them to do that? Just say, okay, government's open, that's it. There is nothing.
How long do you think this could go?
What they're doing is saying they lost the negotiation when we got the great big beautiful deal done. They lost that negotiation. Now they're saying, well, we want to get some of the things we lost. But the problem is the things they lost are very bad for our country. We don't want to have people come over from all over the world, from prisons and all, and have them have their health care paid for. We want to take care of people that are American citizens and all. So they want $1.5 trillion of money to be wasted and jeopardize the health care of other people. We're not going to do that. So I would love to meet with them. We want the country open first. Yeah.
Mr. President, a new poll shows that if Curtis Sliwa dropped out of the New York mayoral race, then Andrew Cuomo would only trail Mondani by 4 points. Would you call Curtis Sliwa to drop out of the race so that can happen?
Well, I looked at the polls, and looks like we're going to have a communist as the mayor of New York. It'll be very interesting. But here's the good news. He's got to go through the White House. Everything goes through the White House, at least this White House it does. And we'll have to see what happens. But if he dropped out, he's not going to win. And not looking too good for Cuomo either. But maybe, I don't know, if he dropped out, maybe Cuomo would have a little bit of a chance, but not much. Because it looks like the lead is, it's not a great lead, but it's big enough that he should be able to win. So, I don't know that I want to get involved. It's really a question of, would I rather have a Democrat or a communist? And I would rather have a Democrat than a communist. It's a
Will
big
you
statement.
speak with Mondani if he wins?
I'll speak to him.
Mr. President,
on your
I
ball,
have an
Mr.
obligation
President.
to speak to him, but I love New York. I've always loved New York. I just can't believe a thing like this is happening. I left New York, and we had a mayor, de Blasio, who was a disaster. But when I left, it was sort of before he could really take hold. And boy, New York was a hot city, and now it's sad to see what's happening, frankly. And with a communist in charge, look, you just go back 1,000 years. I mean, it's been done many times, 1,000 years. It's never worked once, so it's not going to work now either.
Mr. President, you're building your ballroom right now. They're also building the Obama Presidential Library. I'm wondering if you've seen. Have you seen pictures of the architecture, and what do you think of it?
It's not too no, but it's closed. It's stopped. They ran out of money. I mean, he's building a library / museum. You call it some museum, and usually they call it both. They call it library and museum. That's the official name. And they're stuck. And he wanted only women and DEI to build it. Well, that's what they got. And the construction workers are standing out there and saying, we want to be able to build it. You have I built a great building in Chicago, as you know, a big, beautiful building, one of the tallest buildings in the country. And we got it built very quickly, very well. And we used the construction workers of Chicago. They're great workers. They're great construction people. And I suggested he get them involved. But they're hundreds of millions of dollars over budget. And I think it stopped. I'm reading these terrible stories. But that's the way our country was run under President Obama, too. Nobody knew it.
Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President. Russia remains China's top crude oil supplier in September. Are you considering tariffs on China?
Well, I mean, you read the same papers as I do, but I don't have to read the papers because I'm the one. Right now, as of November 1st, China will have about 155% tariff put on it. And I don't think it's sustainable for them, so I want to be nice to China. But China's been very rough with us over the years because we had presidents that weren't smart from a business standpoint. Some were good politicians, some weren't even good politicians, but they allowed China to take advantage of us, and every other country. to take advantage of us. If you see, I made a deal with the European Union. I made a deal with Japan, with South Korea. I made a lot of these deals that are great deals, and I was able to do it. It's really national security. I was able to do it because of tariffs. And we're getting hundreds of billions, even trillions of dollars paid into the United States. We're a very rich country again. We'll start paying off debt. We'll do a lot of things. We'll probably make a distribution out of some of the tariff money. I think we're going to make a distribution over the next fairly short period of time to people because we took in so much money from the tariffs. Just European Union, $650 billion. Japan, $550 billion. South Korea, $350 billion. That's even a lot of money for you guys, right? That's not bad, right? But no, we're taking in a lot of money, and it keeps people like this here because that's why they're coming in. I mean, you wouldn't be, I mean, I'm not going to speak for you, but generally they won't be coming in if it weren't for tariffs. They come in here, and they don't have to pay any tariff. If they do it outside, they pay a lot of money, a lot of tariffs. The money comes to us. And in order not to pay the tariff, they come and they build here. That's why we have more plants under construction than we've ever had in the history of our country. And you wouldn't think it's complicated, but you would have thought somebody would have done this a long time ago, sitting in this beautiful seat behind what's called the Resolute desk. You know that, right? This is a very famous. This is even more famous than any of your desks. But your desks are good. Your desks are very good.
Can I just follow up on her question to you? Because the New York Times is reporting that your legal team is seeking $230 million from your own Justice Department now in response to the investigations into you. Is that something you want your legal team to do?
I don't know what the numbers are. I don't even talk to them about it. All I know is that they would owe me a lot of money, but I'm not looking for money. I'd give it to charity or something. I would give it to charity, any money. But look, what they did, they rigged the election. And as you know, we had, in one case, 60 Minutes had to pay us a lot of money. George Slavadopoulos had to pay us a lot of money. And they already paid. You know, they paid me a lot of money because what they did was wrong. And, you know, when somebody does what's wrong. Now, with the country, it's interesting because I'm the one that makes the decision, right? And, you know, that decision would have to go across my desk. And it's awfully strange to make a decision where I'm paying myself. In other words, did you ever have one of those cases where you have to decide how much you're paying yourself in damages? But I was damaged very greatly. And any money that I would get, I would give to charity.
Thank you, Mr. President. Is the Democrat Party now more Zoran Mamdani's party than it is even Leader Schumer's or Leader
Probably
Jeffries?
is, yeah. Look, it's, I mean, maybe he'll run for president in 4 years. You have a communist president. That would be interesting, right? I don't see it happening, you know. I've always said you will never see, and I always talked about socialism, and you will never see a socialist so-and-so. And I was right. I say it in speeches. We will not have socialism in our country. And I was right. Communism, yes, but socialism. In other words, they skipped socialism and they went down to communism. No, he's a communist, and he's going to be maybe the mayor of New York. I don't know. Maybe, you know, polls are wrong, but these polls seem to be pretty consistent. But he would be, I would say he would be the leader of the party. It's not Schumer. Schumer's shot. He's shot. This poor guy, I feel sorry for him. I've known him for a long time, but he's I think he's mentally gone. He's been beat up by young, radical lunatics. And I think Chuck Schumer is, he's gonzo. I really do. I think he's probably not going to run. It shows that he's losing in every poll. Now, this is hard. You know, he wants to meet with me. It's sort of hard to meet with a guy after I make a statement like that, but I'm just giving the facts. I think Chuck is probably finished. I know some people, Democrats, that would be good. There's some good politicians and some, you know, reasonable people. But I understand that they would not have a chance of, you know, getting even the concept of holding the torch. They're not going to get it. But they have some people that I really believe they're low IQ people. They're stupid people. And they seem to be leading the party. So we'll see what happens. Look, the Republicans are strong. We have great leadership. We're very strong in every way, and we're going to keep it that way. But we are really a strong party. You know, our party's grown magnificently. We've gotten away. Look at all the union votes I got. Nobody thought that was ever possible. Look at the election where I won I won everything. I won all 7 swing states. If you win 3 or 4 swing states, you're doing great. I won all 7 by a lot. And I think the best thing when you look at districts, 2,700 versus 525. That's big. That's why the map shows all red. So we won in a tremendous landslide, and that's because people like our policy. I guess they like me, but they like my policies. Strong borders, good education, low taxes. You know, in the great big beautiful bill, we got the biggest tax cut in history. Not only no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime, but we got the biggest tax cut in the history of our country in the bill that we just approved. And I think people see that and they like it, and that's why we're doing well, but they are not. They do not have leadership. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you,
President.
All right, watching President Trump live there from the Oval Office. Thank you so much for watching both live streams today, of course, earlier today with Robert McNeely, and then, of course, myself, Matthew Alvarez. For all of us here at Right Side Broadcasting Network, have a great night. We'll see you again soon, as we'll have more live coverage throughout the week.
Welcome to Right Side Broadcasting Network, your trusted conservative news outlet. At RSBN, we deliver the truth when the mainstream media falls short. Since 2015, we've proudly broadcasted every single one of President Trump's iconic MAGA rallies, bringing you the excitement and energy live before anyone else. By watching RSBN, you get an unfiltered front row view of the action on the ground. We interview the crowds to give a voice to millions of Americans just like you. We show you President Trump's speeches in their entirety, free from interruptions and censorship. We cover the stories that matter to you with the integrity and passion you deserve. Thank you for choosing RSBN as your home for America First News. Together, we stand strong, united, and informed, so join us and be part of the right side of history.
Hey y'all, it's Silk from the Diamond and Silk Chit Chat live show. Look, don't forget to check me out right here on RSBN Network. Be sure to watch the show on Right Side Broadcasting Network, and I want you to support Right Side Broadcasting Network. Yes, it's imperative that you do so, okay? I look to see y'all soon. Bye-bye.
allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. You can scan that QR code now, RSBN10. That is the code, easy to remember, for 10% off. This is ivermectin, hydrochloroquine, antibiotics that will save you and yours from bacterial and viral infections, NAD+, and much, much more. 200 essential medications and emergency medical kits, the meds you trust delivered to your door.